nowhere to go. Like 10 minutes of performance up until so I'm like worried that he's gonna get hurt. And so the birds are open, and I'm like, I want to ask him to shut the curtains, and he's no, like I can't find him. So finally, I shut the curtains, and the performing arts director thought that meant it was like 7 o'clock right when it started. I hadn't seen him for 15 minutes.
In the darkness, and the darkness will not overcome. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome. Behold, behold, his kingdom now is come. The valley will be lifted, and the mountains will be brought down low. The valley will be lifted, and the mountains will be brought down low. Behold, behold, his kingdom now is come. Behold, behold, his kingdom now is come. Behold, behold, his kingdom now is come.
Welcome. We're glad you're with us on this beautiful Palm Sunday, and we welcome you if you're worshiping online as well. Just a couple announcements. As you may have noticed, the e-news is quite full, as usual this time of year. So keep an eye on that, please. But more immediately, if you get your Easter flowers order in by Thursday, you'll be able to pick those up after service on Easter. And of course, that form is in the newsletter. Our last winter warm-up, a time of fellowship down at Mallow Run, is today. I forgot to look and see what soup it is.
Chicken tortilla.
Chicken tortilla, Jim says. All right. So that starts at noon. Music starts at 2 if you want to hang out for a while. And finally, we have our congregational meeting right here, right after service. And there is a link in the e-news for the Zoom link if you're online and want to check that out. So with that, have at it, Tara.
Good morning, everyone. How are we? Good.
Yeah, it's, same. I'm going to invite you to stand and sing along with us this morning. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This next one, oh, thank you. This next one, we have done sort of just as the band before. I don't know that we've done it as a everyone sings type of thing, but I feel like maybe you guys know it well enough by now, so we're gonna give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be a mountain when you're feeling valley low. I can be a street light showing you the way home. If you can hold my hand when you need to let go. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take we're gonna have to sow the seed. Plant a little happiness, let the roots run deep. If it's love that we give, then it's love that we reap. If we want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seed. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day's done. The door is always open, your picture's on my wall. Everyone's a little broken, but everyone belongs. Everyone belongs. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day is done. And bring us back together when the day is done. Beautiful.
Did it sound all right? Okay. Linda Spazzelli has an announcement for outreach and plans for April.
Your notes so I don't forget anything. Good morning. I'm Linda Spazzelli, and along with Paula Peterson, I co-chair our outreach team. And one important thing I want to shout out is every one of you are a part of that team. For every item you've donated, for every minute of your time. He sees us. This week we made an emergency cash donation to Unconditional's food pantry. Paul and I were there on Monday, and with the exception of a few items in their freezer, I saw a package of chicken and some frozen bologna and there were some French fries. So we made an emergency cash donation to help their clientele, the women in the sex industry, help subsidize food for their families. When they come in, they need and they take. Their ministry is growing, and that is an amazing thing. So it's making a difference. For the month of April, we are helping the Interfaith Food Pantry of Johnson County. For 40 years, they have helped alleviate hunger in Johnson County. And to be helpful, collecting together, we're going to do this in bulk. And the suggested items we've came up with are 3 items we'd like to collect so we can donate efficiently for their pantries. Paper towels, ketchup, and hamburger helper. So, maybe these boxes used to be bigger. Remember when hamburger was cheap? So together, let's collect those items. And also on April the 16th from 10:30 to 2:30, we have the opportunity to go there and volunteer. They are in Franklin. I'm sure it'll be a time of fun and fellowship and busy work, but it'll be good. And I'm excited to kind of get to see that in motion because I know that they have a lot of people who are very passionate about what they do there and the people that they serve. So if you are able, you can let myself know or Paula know or just show up. April 16th, 10:30 to 2:30. So again, everything we do together is for the good of God, and let's keep serving. I'll take my ketchup. I'll donate.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you to you and Paula and all you do and organize. You do awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, today is Palm Sunday, and of course that's when we commemorate Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, he enters the capital as a conquering hero, sort of, right? There's a preacher I listen to, his name is Brian Zond, and he wrote a book called Postcards from Babylon, The Church in American Exile, it's called. And there's a chapter in there titled, There's Always Some Dude on a Horse. So he and his wife travel a lot, and they've noticed this common theme of some dude, some conquering hero on a horse, lifted above everybody else on a statue. In cities all across the world, usually in, Europe and places like that. And Jesus could have been that dude, except he wasn't. He was not a general returning from victory, as many of those people wanted that outcome. He did not enter the city on a war horse, led by chariots, surrounded by legions of soldiers. He came on a donkey, and as we see in chapter 12 of John's Gospel, Jesus found a young donkey and sat on it, as it is written, "Do not be afraid, daughter of Zion. Look, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey's colt." And Cole Arthur Riley wrote the following about this image. "There is a miracle in belonging to a God who rejects the image of a glorified hero and instead comes to us on a donkey, centering the plight of those who suffer. Liberation begins with this call to those who suffer: do not be afraid." So let's, as we think our center and unify our hearts and minds in prayer, let's take a few moments of silence. I'll lead us in prayer and then ask you to say along in the Lord's Prayer. Please pray with me. Loving and gracious God, thank you for drawing near to us. We have known what it is to encounter help that is not truly help. Thank you for showing us a different way. A God who rejects privilege, a God who is unbothered by sitting on a donkey if it means you are drawing near to us. As we wait for our risen Lord, take away the fear that has settled on our souls. Help us to trust in the arrival of goodness, even in the wake of suffering. Let this Palm Sunday speak the language of welcome, that we would never turn hope away when it appears to us. We lift up the people and the situations that might weigh heavy on our hearts, those on our prayer list, and those who may be silently held in our hearts. May your healing hand rest upon all. May the sick be healed and those in need be comforted. And may we all sense your comforting and loving presence on this day. Though we have fallen out short, you reach out to us in your infinite grace. You continually forgive us and call us to turn our lives around, to see to the needs of others, to reach out in trust and faith, to be willing to witness to your good news, to be in service to you and others. Be with us and give us courage to face what lies ahead. Strengthen our faith that we will remain steadfast in a time of reckoning. We ask all of these things in the name of Jesus, who taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
So one of my favorite, aspects of the natural world is the idea that there are small ecosystems, there are big ecosystems, even the small ecosystems that we sort of think of like, oh, there's a pond here. And we think of it as like it's its own entity. But in reality, that pond interacts with so many different other ecosystems in its area. I mean, even think about bees and birds and how far they spread pollen from one flower to another. And that just really makes me think of churches being sort of a small ecosystem where there's, life and things bloom within our little group, but we also then go out into the world and spread the happiness and joy that we find within our community. And really this song for me kind of encapsulates that. The chorus says, I want to be like a tree by the river, plant me down by the water. When the sun gets hot, my leaves won't wither. And I think another thing that doesn't really speak to a whole lot in this particular song, but trees by the river get sustenance and nutrients from the river itself, but they also give back to the river. And so I think the whole idea of just being a tree planted by the river, giving and taking in tandem is just really beautiful. So feel free to sing along with us if you would like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blessed are the ones who love your word. Your ways are their delight. They know they need it, eat, sleep, and breathe it, thinking on it day and night. But sad for the ones who walk away, who sit down with all the scoffers, building their kingdoms, calling it freedom, chasing after what the world offers. I want to be like a tree by the river. Deep, deep water. Deep, deep water. When the sun gets hot, my leaves won't wither. Leaves won't wither. Oh, plant me down like a tree by the river. Oh, plant me down by your deep, deep water. I wanna be like a mighty oak, roots growing strong and deep. When the wind blows, the roots gonna hold, 'cause you're holding on to me. I wanna be like a tree by the river. Oh, plant me down by the deep, deep water. When the sun gets hot, my leaves won't wither. Oh, plant me down like a tree by the river. Oh, plant me down by your deep, deep water. Plant me, plant me, plant me by the river. Wash me, wash me, wash me with your water. Plant me, plant me, plant me by the river. Oh, wash me, wash me, wash me with your water. I want to be like a tree by the river. Tree like a river. Oh, plant me down by the deep, deep water. Deep, deep water. When the sun gets hot, my leaves won't wither. By the river, oh, plant me down like your deep, deep water.
Good job, guys. Just as a reminder, I know many of you went to protests yesterday. If you remember last year, we talked on Palm Sunday last year about how Jesus' entry into Jerusalem was an act of protest. So you can hear that sermon on our YouTube page. That was from last year. We're not talking about that today, but for those of you who might be interested or weren't here for that, that was last year's Palm Sunday sermon. But today we are continuing our Lenten series called Jesus Unfiltered, where we've been looking at the famous I am statements made by Jesus and collected in the Gospel of John. And mostly so far, we've gone in the order of appearance. You know, we've just kind of gone in the order that they happen in the narrative. But today, we're not doing that. We're flipping the last two. Because chronologically, today's I am is the last one in John's Gospel. But it kind of fits better thematically with today. And next week, our series will conclude with one that happens the second to last. But Jesus says, I'm the resurrection and the life, which fits in perfectly with Easter Sunday. So we're flipping those two. And you'll forgive me for that, right?
Yes.
All right, good. Forgive them for having the wrong order. That's even better. Yes, they messed up. We didn't. Yeah. We improved upon it, yes. We can prune it even better. All right, that fits in with the narrative today. All right, well, throughout Lent, through all of the I am statements, you could say that all the statements really fit into one big idea of two prominent themes, and that is thus. And they're all different metaphors, but they're getting at the same reality, right? The invitation to connect with the divine in order to find and recenter ourselves. So this invitation to connect, relationship, and then using that connection to live an impactful life. That's really what all of this is about. It's connecting to God and then using that as motivation to do something that matters in the world. All of those themes have been there all along, and they find they're perhaps the clearest expression in today's metaphor, where Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. So really, this is a continuation of John 14 that Ryan talked about last week, what's known as the farewell discourse. It's farewell because Jesus is preparing the disciples for life without him. He's saying, I'm leaving, but if you continue on this path, if you do what I've taught you, then you will even do greater things than me. That's what he says. If you can stay on this path, if you stay connected to me and do what I've asked you to do, you will do even greater things than I've done. He's told them over and over what's about to happen. They don't believe him. He's imparting this final wisdom that will sustain this journey, reinforcing these main points over and over, wrapping this in multiple layers of metaphor, doing everything he can to try and get them to see it. And yet their reaction, as preserved by John over and over again, is, we have no idea what you're talking about. We're clueless. We are lost. We have no idea where you're going, Jesus. He says, you know where I'm going. No, we don't. We don't know where you're going. They just are completely lost. So he's like, okay, well, you didn't get the bread, you didn't get the light, you didn't get the water. Let's try a vine, right? Finally, one last metaphor to hopefully encompass this reality. In fact, the last chapter of John 14, after part of this teaching, it seems like Jesus is frustrated and he wants to walk because they're just so obtuse. He literally, it says, ends with saying, get up, let's go. And then transitions into chapter 15. So it's very possible that Jesus and his disciples were walking past a vineyard when Jesus decided to give this teaching. He usually used things around him to give his talking points. So I just imagine as we read today's text, which is a bit long, that we're all just sitting out on the porch at Mallow Run, looking out over the vines, right? You got that? If you're going today to have some soup, you can just do that later. But this is the teaching from John 15 in the Message because it's easier to read and it's really long, and this is a little bit shorter. So hopefully you'll find some resonance here. John 15, Jesus says, I am the real vine, and my Father is the farmer. He cuts off every branch of me that doesn't bear grapes, and every branch that is grape-bearing, he prunes back so that it will bear even more. You are already pruned back by the message I have spoken. Live in me. Make your home in me just as I do in you. In the same way that a branch can't bear grapes by itself, but only by being joined to the vine, you can't bear fruit unless you are joined with me. I am the vine. You are the branches. When you're joined with me and I with you, the relation intimate and organic. The harvest is sure to be abundant. Separated, you can't produce a thing. Anyone who separates from me is dead wood gathered up and thrown on the bonfire. But if you make yourselves at home with me, and my words are at home in you, you can be sure that whatever you ask will be listened to and acted upon. This is how my Father shows who he is. When you produce grapes, when you mature as my disciples. I've loved you the way my Father has loved me. Make yourselves at home in my love. If you keep my commandments, you'll remain intimately at home in my love. That's what I've done, kept my Father's commands and made myself at home in his love. I told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy wholly mature. This is my command, love one another the way I loved you. It's a lot of good stuff in there, right? But the imagery hopefully reinforces and reconnects to everything we've already been learning throughout this whole process. It's just a different metaphor to express the same reality. And again, as we've seen almost every week throughout this journey, Jesus isn't introducing a new idea or a new concept to his disciples. He's calling upon very common and accepted imagery from their culture and their history. The metaphor of a vineyard is used many times in the Hebrew Bible to describe God's relationship to Israel. And often the conclusion of those metaphors in the Hebrew Bible is that good grapes make good wine, and the good wine is a reflection not just of the vineyard, but of the winemaker. Okay, so you see that in the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Hosea. Over and over, there's this idea that God plants and tends to a vineyard that is people and longs for those people to bear fruit, to make good wine, to be fruitful and faithful, to better bolster God's reputation in the world as the ultimate winemaker, right? You see this in Psalm 34. We're given this invitation so that everyone could taste and see that the Lord is good, right? We are an extension of God. The wine is a reflection of the winemaker. And even though these are familiar concepts for Jesus and the disciples, what makes this a little bit different is that he says he is the vine and they are the branches. Like I said, this is a continuation of what happened in John 14. He's talking about relationship. He's talking about being connected, and that being the key to bearing fruit. And he even says that their ability to love one another will be a reflection on him. Several years ago, I was in a waiting room, as you do, ready for an appointment. And normally in those moments, I'll just, play a game on my phone. But instead of doing that, I decided to pick up one of those magazines sitting there on the table. You remember those? It's the only place you can get a magazine anymore, right? It's at the dentist. Anyway, I was flipping through, and I found this fascinating 2-page spread. On the right side, there was this beautiful, majestic nature scene. And there was a woman in a little rowboat on a serene lake with this beautiful fall foliage all around her. And she was looking down at her phone. And the tagline on the picture was, "When the market calls, answer it." It was a tagline for TD Ameritrade. Yeah. On the other side, there was an editorial. It was called the No Data Roaming Plan, and it described the anxiety that the author felt when this recent trip he went on where his phone didn't work. He had no Wi-Fi and no data and no cell coverage, and how much that put him through as a person and how he learned and grew from that experience. He said he likened being connected at all times to wearing sweatpants to the office. Comfortable and practical, but also a little creepy. And he said this. He said, inaccessibility used to be a part of travel. You left home and absence had a chance to work its magic. Today, we all keep one foot in the ghost world where distance doesn't matter and no one is ever out of reach. That's easy to do, isn't it? It's just so easy to do. I told you a couple weeks ago at my Bethany retreat, even though we were mostly off-grid, we had very little cell coverage, even though part of the point of being there is to disconnect, even though I was focused on being present with my sacred friends, even though the content for our retreat was about the perils of technology, I still found myself instinctively just looking at my cell phone. Do I have service yet? Has anyone tried to call or text me? Surely I'm that important. Somebody needs to talk to me, right? I mean, it's so ingrained in us now. At times, we're all that woman in the rowboat, right? We are engaged in stuff that ultimately we could argue doesn't matter in the big picture and asleep to the whole possibilities and wonders all around us. Every one of these I am statements that we've looked at through Lent have been different metaphors, again, all expressing the same message. At the end of the day, it's that life is precious and how we spend it matters. So spend it in relationship with God and people and do stuff that matters. That's the whole point of all of this. There's an invitation here to what Jesus calls an abundant life, and it's found in connection with the one who is the vine. It's an invitation to reconnect and find ourselves so that we can live an impactful life fueled by that connection, vine and branches. But when we're not connected, when we fall asleep to our own lives, we miss this invitation, both to have a meaningful and impactful life and to bear good fruit. We miss out on that. And we get stuck in this void and this loop of just kind of going through the motions and missing the greater things in life. And luckily, every now and then we experience something that sort of wakes us up and reminds us of what's most important. You might imagine like you're driving down the road and you're having an argument over something that's probably silly with a friend or a spouse or something like that. And then another car veers over into your lane. And then you realize that like you're not arguing anymore because it doesn't really matter at this moment because you almost just died. Right? Or maybe you're really frustrated with your kid or with your parent, and then you talk to someone else and their kid or their parent's in the hospital, and they're fighting for their life, and you go, okay, that's not really that important. You kind of wake up. Or maybe you're just watching or hearing or reading a story in a movie or a book or online, and it just viscerally moves you. It reminds you of the power of love and connection, and you can't but help but want to invest more deeply in the people you care about. Or when you go to a funeral and you love this person and you grieve that they are gone, but you're deeply inspired by their life and you have this renewed energy like to go and live a better life because the way they lived theirs. Like we react in these moments this way because these moments remind us of what we already know, that life is a precious gift and what we do with it matters. So why do we so easily get sucked into just being numb to it or being distracted from it? Why do we get caught up in things that ultimately don't matter and end up wasting more of this wild adventure that we call life? That's why these moments of connection matter. It's not just about not doing stuff or not being online or disconnecting. It's learning to see the sacredness of life in all that we're doing, right? When we have these moments where we wake up, where we pay attention, we realize what's at stake, we were reminded of what is most important. It shows us like how crazy we live the rest of the time, right? How fast we move, or how stressed out we are, how obsessed and numb to things we can get, how exhausted we may feel at the end of the day, or how little fruit we've actually been bearing. Is this all there is, or is there more to life than this? What is Jesus really inviting us to? There's a hymn in our hymnal, which we don't sing a whole lot from in this service, but we're about to hear it in a moment. It's called Come and Find the Quiet Center. This is what it says. It says, come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Find the room for hope to enter. Find the frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. And that is the invitation today on this Palm Sunday, to be branches connected to the vine. And I'll remind you that the very people who waved palms on Palm Sunday abandoned Jesus less than a few days later because they weren't connected. So let's heed this wisdom from Jesus. Let's find our quiet center. Let's reconnect to our vine so that our branches can bear fruit, so that we can do even greater things that Jesus promised, but more importantly, we can wake up to our own lives and remember what is truly most important. Let's accept the invitation to live in the present, to live fully, and to live for more. Amen.
Silence is a friend who claims us, cools the heat and slows the pace. God it is who speaks and names us, knows our being, touches base, making space within our thinking, lifting shades to show the sun, raising courage when we're shrinking, finding scope for faith begun. In the Spirit, let us travel, open to each other's pain. Let our loves and fears unravel, celebrate the space we gain. There's a place for deepest dreaming, there's a time for heart to care. In the Spirit's lively scheming, there is always room to spare.
There's a story in my new favorite book about communion. The book's called Theo of Golden. I can't recommend it enough. It's just a fantastic, fantastic book. If you have not read it, put it on your list. There's a story about communion. The main character, Theo, brings a bottle of very expensive wine to share with a friend. He goes on to tell him that this vintage port, about how it was made and why it's so important, and it was made the year that he was born, and there's this beautiful story connected to that part of it. But ultimately, the friend says, after they shared the bottle and had this wonderful experience of sharing stories, he said, "Theo, that's the second best wine I've ever drank." Which begs the question, right, was the first one? And then he tells this story about being in a bunker in Vietnam. And just before a fellow soldier ultimately would die in battle, he asked this friend to have communion with him. And he said, "I'm not religious. I don't believe in any of that stuff." And he basically said, "Well, that's okay. You don't have to believe in it, but I can't take communion by myself." And this soldier took out some wine and some bread, and they had communion. Ultimately, right before that man would pass away. And he said, "That was the best wine I've ever had." I tell you that this morning because that's a good reminder of what this is really about. When Jesus took these elements and lifted them up, he wasn't saying, "Hey, make sure you do this at every worship service you ever have for the rest of life." We do that, but that wasn't like the main point. The main point was these are simple ingredients, bread and juice. You find these all the time. When you eat bread, when you drink juice, use that as an invitation to remember me, to remember the deeper reality of life, to remember what really matters in the simple things, not just when we gather on Sunday. When you gather at Mallow Run, when you're in each other's homes, when you break bread at your own table, remember what ultimately matters. That is the ultimate invitation of this table. Let us pray.
Please bless us today, God, as we come to this table. It is sometimes so hard. It is so hard to put other stuff aside, to remind ourselves why we are here and what you have done for us. Please help us remember that today as we eat and as we drink. Amen.
And so we remember that last meal Jesus had with his disciples when he took the bread and blessed it and broke it and said, "This is my body broken for you." Broken so that anything that's broken in our lives or our world can be made whole again through Christ's work. And at the end of the meal, he took a cup of wine. This happens to be grape juice. He lifted it and said, "Every time you see this, every time you share a cup, remember me. Remember the gift of Christ. Remember what is most important." As is our custom, we will have intinction on this side, where you can tear off a piece of bread and dip it in the cup. On this side, we have individually wrapped and gluten-free. Come join us at the table. Which one do you want? It's our custom in this service to have a shared moment of processing, a collective time of reflection, to maybe consider what the Spirit may be doing in our midst and what we might have to offer that might be for the good of the whole. So normally leave this pretty open-ended, and you can kind of go wherever you want to go, and that is always the case. You can still do that today, but I did prepare a couple of questions for today to kind of root our discussion. So feel free to maybe chime in on one of these. Although if you have another comment, it's certainly welcome. So like what period of time? Is it like a time of day, a time of the week? Is it a physical place? Like what is it for you that allows you to find your quiet center? Like what allows you to really connect or reconnect as a vine to a branch? So that's one thing. Number two, what causes us to fall asleep, or what specifically for you, what causes you to fall asleep to your own life? In other words, like what disrupts you, what distracts you, what numbs you, what pulls you out of the things that matter most? Or maybe you could describe an experience that woke you back up again. So those are just some ideas maybe to to stimulate your thinking. Again, if you have a different idea or something else you want to share, or just give props to Tara and the band, that would be cool too. So, someone want to share? Yeah, sure.
So I guess I would respond to that third one. An experience that woke me up. I've always been a person that is energetic and go in full steam ahead and try to do 20 things at once and not stop and think about myself. But something that woke me up was the cancer diagnosis. Okay, that kind of lays you low pretty quick. And you sort of start to evaluate, how did I get here and why did this happen? And you look at things a lot differently, and you act a lot differently after that. The other thing is that kind of my quest is to try to get people not to do it the way I did it, so that they don't have to have that happen to them, to have that moment where they realize, oh my gosh, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So that's kind of, you can't change your own, but you can hopefully change the course of other people. And so that quiet moment and also prayer and meditation are very close, but meditation brings you to the present all the time. And that's a thing that has really helped me.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Someone else want to share? What is it that wakes you up or pulls you into sleep? Meet me halfway.
I was thinking earlier in the summer we did a study on the Sabbath with, I forget the theologian's name, Brueggemann?
Brueggemann,
Yeah. And that was kind of, I would say an awakening, like an epiphany, but he steeped this idea of detachment from the world, and he related it to economy.
Yeah.
Like how we are so tied into this, frazzled life. And he then related it to, well, it's kind of like that's what is our survival.
Yeah.
But what I really appreciated about the book and then how you kind of brought it together in my mind today is he was talking more like a worldview. Like my worldview is going to be centered on God, and I don't really have to worry about all these other things, so I can come and detach from it.
Yeah.
And then like having you talk about it today, it's just kind of coming full circle for me.
Good.
Thank you for your sermon. Appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing. Want to talk? Someone else? Gigi? And then I'll come over here. Yep.
I'm going to answer number one. My quiet place is the library.
Yeah.
When I go into the library, no matter what stress I'm feeling, I feel calm when I walk out.
Good. Yeah. My wilderness is your library. Yeah. And then you want to share?
My first time to visit you with dear friends that I've known since 1969. If
Wow.
you believe that.
She just outed you like that, didn't she? Yeah.
And far up north in Michigan, where I live, there is an old cottage. Not beautiful by any means, but has been in the family for many, many years. It's perched on a high bank, tree-lined bank, above a smaller lake that is often very, very peaceful. Below the cottage, on the bank, fire pit, chairs around, a table for s'mores, all of that. And that's my quiet place, to sit there and look at the water, which all life needs, and think how beautiful life is.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. When can we come visit? Sign me up. Spring break's over, but we can make this happen. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mine is always also a quiet center, and I have never found so much peace and calm in myself as when I have visited Northern Ireland. If you've ever been there, you can't describe it. It is one of those places where the veil is very thin, and it's not hard to imagine that God is there with you. Obviously, he always is, but there you can definitely feel it. And I think some of it, I've been twice. The last time I went, we did part of St. Patrick's Trail. Very, very, very old Christian sites. And it's just, it hits different. And that's the most peace I have ever found.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Pass it down here.
My quiet place, quiet center has always been nature. Ever since I was a little kid, like I was always outside, dirty, but I have a very specific spot. So Northwest Park on Fry Road is like my absolute favorite spot ever because there's little spots where you can go down where the creek runs through and the rocks are dry enough that you can sit there. And a lot of times, like when it's nice enough, I'll go down and I'll sit there and I'll just like listen to everything around it. Yeah. And it just kind of allows me to really like recenter myself and like everything that I am sitting in right now was created by God. Unless there's a random like sock over there, which happens sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'll come to you next. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This morning I was reminded by a memory on my Facebook page. 6 years ago today, I was doing communion at home when the world shut down. And I really stopped and thought about that time when we all had to slow down and we had to really pull inward and grab onto our faith because it was kind of a scary time. And I kind of miss that quiet time, you know?
Come and find the quiet center. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay.
So for me, my quiet center is actually, it's not very quiet. And it would be the ceramics classroom at my school. And something that I think is kind of ironic now, and it's kind of metaphorical for me almost, is the first step when you're throwing on the wheel is called centering, where you keep molding the clay on your wheel until it is in the center before you can start building an actual like piece. And I think that that's really like metaphorical for you have to find your center before you can grow and build something beautiful.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There'll be plenty of time for discussion if you want to stick around afterwards. If there's something here that resonates with you you'd like to discuss, we'll be hanging out after our congregational meeting, which we're going to have a few minutes after this service ends. But thank you all for engaging and sharing on this Palm Sunday. Let's sing our closing song.
I'm going to invite you to stand and sing with us. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Chasing the highlights.
May the Spirit guide us to the quiet center as we lean into the sacredness of life as we follow Jesus to the cross. Go and mirror God's peace, love, and justice to the world. Amen.